The biggest takeaway of serving for 20 years is that you make sure that the soldiers know that you care. They deal with life, we deal with life, and supporting them along the way to tell them that they can keep going and keep pushing them mentally and emotionally is very, very key.
Now, since my dad was Navy, when I told him I was joining the United States Army as an officer, he says, well, why in the world would you join the Army and sleep on the ground? When I told you I was in the Navy and we sleep on clean white sheets every day. And I was like, well, Dad, the Army offered me an opportunity to be an officer. So some of my bigger takeaways was that I was a part of the Army that established the Postal Service as far as getting the mail. When we went to Desert Shield, Desert Storm, one of the greatest problems that we had was that we couldn't get the mail moved forward to the service members. And so for us, mail is a part of the morale. Everybody likes to get a piece of mail.
I just walked down the street one day to the nearest recruiting station and went in and told them that I wanted to join the Air Force. And he looked and said, wait a minute, but you're only 16. And I said, yes, I graduated early. And he said, oh, well, if that's the case, we have to get your parents' permission in order for you to join. And at that point, I said, well, I don't know who's going to call my mom, but it's not going to be me. I made it to the rank of Senior Master Sergeant. There's only 5% of the entire Air Force that ever makes it to that rank. But what my takeaway is that I have to build people up in a team around me for them to get their moment to shine or to be comfortable in uncomfortable positions.
I was tapped very early to start the nursing program, and a lot of people said that it couldn't be done, and I think that's what motivated me, that it could be done. We had satellites across 10 different states and trained about 600 or 700 people. I received a lot of awards for that.
I'm very different from who I was before I served. I think I'm more calmer. Stressful situations aren't as stressful. I think that's what's the biggest difference.
My goal for continued service is to keep doing jobs that I enjoy and where I can directly make an impact for our service, not only today, but for those who come to serve in the future. When we have a mission to do, that's what gets done right away. And there's also a deep sense of loyalty to each other, loyalty to the nation, and loyalty to making sure we're doing the right thing at all times.
Upon graduating, I was required to attend Officer Candidate School, which is a 17-and-a-half-week program, and I commissioned as an ensign, which is an O1. And I said, I'm just going to do 3 years. I'm just going to do 3 years and do something else. And then 24 and a half years later, I am the 6th African-American female to reach the rank of 06 and the first Alpha Kappa Alpha 1.
So at the time that I entered, my goal was just to make it through boot camp and make it through my training. But as I stayed in the unit, my goal was to become more assertive. I was extremely shy when I first went in the military, and I think it's safe to say that I achieved that goal.
I created an emergency response team for radiation accidents. I was selected to develop and sponsor a program for women in the military, which was very important for me because we were concerned about women's exposure to radiation injuries. When I was in the military, they did not have any female physician generals in Army, Navy, Air Force. And so at the end, when I was retiring, that was one of the things that I worked on very well. And it became that the Navy did appoint an admiral in the medical corps. And since then, the Air Force and the Army has also followed suit.
My biggest takeaway from serving was that if you really want to understand teamwork and no teamwork, dependability and accountability, and maximize your integrity, the military is the way to get it all.